Welcome to a pivotal moment in the world of broadcast as we proudly present the Men's Mental Health Show featuring the renowned Larry Mabry in collaboration with the Maassen Group. This essential exploration of men's mental health wouldn't be possible without the invaluable support of Rainier Avenue Radio World. Now, let's dive into this crucial conversation with Larry Mabry and the Maassen Group. Your mental well-being matters. Here's Larry Mabry.
Welcome. Hopefully everyone's doing well from their nice festive time with family over the Thanksgiving break. So I know I had a pretty good time. I was able to get caught up with some family I haven't seen in a while. And just wanted to say welcome with that. All right. So without further ado, this week, we wanted to cover Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And basically, these are needs that everyone needs. And basically, as we go through these needs, we'll notice. Actually, let me read this here. So, for those people who do not know, what are Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Well, there's a psychologist by the name of Abraham Maslow who developed the hierarchy of needs theory. And he explored human motivation and emphasized the progression from basic survival needs to self-actualization and personal development. For those individuals who can see me here, I'm online here, I'll kind of explain. So basically, I have a graph that has a triangle. And at the base of the triangle, we have what we call physiological needs. And then the next level up, we have safety needs. And then from there, we have belongingness. And then if we go up further, we'll have esteem needs. And then one more step, we'll have self-actualization. Now, if you notice, the base of the triangle is very, very important. All of these kind of work together. The base is the foundation. And these needs are needs that everybody needs in order to be the best person that they can be. How does one receive these needs? Well, basically, the physiological needs that we have, these are things like, I'm going to go ahead here. These are things like food, water, sleep, oxygen. The base, you'll see here at the base, red part of the triangle. Basic needs that everyone deserves as a human. Otherwise, we can't survive. So what would happen if you didn't have these things? Well, you couldn't function. You couldn't be at your optimal level. You wouldn't really be worried about any material things because these are basic physiological needs that everyone has or deserves. Then we have the next, which is safety. And what are our safety needs? Well, one thing that comes to mind is, how are we being healthy? Do you feel like you're in good health? Do you feel safe with your health? Do you feel like you're employed at the right location or right occupation? Do you feel safe there? Do you feel safe in your environment? Sometimes you may be in an environment that doesn't allow you to feel safe. Do you feel safe to express yourself emotionally? And are you doing things that safely promote healthy well-being? Think about that. What are some things you're doing today? Think about some things maybe you did today. And for those individuals, I see a few people here. I want to say welcome. If you go over to the chat, feel free to reach out, say hello. Let me know, what are some things that you did today to promote healthy well-being? Did you go for a walk? Did you listen to good music? Did you hang out with a friend? Did you make some music? Did you do something creative? These are things that we do to help us have healthy well-being. Okay, let's go to the next foundation. Belongingness. What is belongingness? What are the needs for being in a sense of belonging? Well, belongingness needs are things like friendship, family, intimacy, a sense of connection. A few weeks ago, I spoke about the Jedi Council. For those individuals who don't know what that is, basically, who are those individuals that you have around you that look out for you, that make sure that you're taken care of? I call those individuals your Jedi Council, right? These are those individuals who love you with all your flaws, without judgment. They pretty much keep it real with you, let you know what's up, right? And as you communicate with these individuals, you get a sense of belonging. A lot of times you may find these individuals in your community. For those individuals that play sports, you may have those people that you hang out with, you play sports with, or let's say that you're part of an organization, like maybe you're into the arts. So you might have individuals that support you with arts, right? This would be your Jedi Council. For those individuals that do not participate in those types of things, maybe you have a church that you go to, right? People that support you. Some individuals may have prayer warriors. I remember we had growing up. Okay, these are people that help you feel wanted, secured. Whenever you have a challenge, they support you with that or give you the right way to handle a difficult situation. Belongingness. Okay, what are your esteem needs? Now, a lot of times when people say esteem, they think of self-esteem, but I'm talking about the esteem that you have outside of you. So, for example, the need to be respected and valued and honored by others, right? Your character, how you show up. And this can also be how you show up at home, your place of work, your relationships. Are you teamed or me focused, right? And some people may say, well, you know what? I'm team focused, but the person I'm involved with, they're me focused. So what do you do in those situations, right? How do you handle those situations, right? Feel free if you want to reach out. You can go to our radio, Rainier Radio World. I believe we have a Facebook. You can reach out there and send a comment if you're interested. How do you handle that to make sure that you're honoring your esteem, right? How's your reputation? Do people support you? People look up to you? Do you have high esteem in the community? All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. What does self actualization mean? Well, what human beings can be, they must be. They must be true to their own nature. And this is by Abraham Maslow. How does one reach their fullest potential? That's a good question. I mean, is it about like what you're doing in the gym? That could be part of it. What about, if you're working hard and putting in a lot of hours? Yeah, I mean, a little bit. How I look at it is it's really about balance. Balance. And I'm not talking about like, here I have my phone here, I'm just kind of balancing. I'm not talking about actually balancing something in your hand. I'm talking about like handling those things within yourself and taking care of it to the point where they're balanced. Does that mean you're perfect? Of course not. No one out here is perfect. But I know in my life, I'm constantly trying to work on things. And usually these things happen when you have a challenge, believe it or not. Sometimes you may have someone come in front of you and they're like, okay, you might need to handle this, right? And these are things that we may see in our subconscious as well as our conscious. The conscious things are things we kind of know. For example, someone gives you a call, they say, hey, you got to handle this, no problem. But sometimes those things that are kind of irritating that you need to face, they may happen in a relationship. They may happen in maybe you get in an accident or something abrupt happens in your life and you're like, okay, why am I in this situation? Sometimes those may be subconscious things that we need to face that maybe we haven't handled those in a while. And as we handle those with grace, compassion, and ease, we reach our fullest potential. All right. Okay, so we're going to recap real quick. So today we looked at physiological needs as it relates to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And these are the most fundamental needs necessary for survival. They include air, water, food, shelter, sleep, and other basic biological requirements. And think about how many people you know that, and they may choose this, but how many people you may know, or you may see them as you travel by, see them on the street. Some people may make that choice, but a lot of times it might be because they are working on their physiological needs. If these needs are not met, they take precedence over all the needs, and the individual's primary focus is not on focusing, is now on fulfilling these basic necessities. So, as I stated earlier, it's important to make sure that you have the base solid to the point where you're not worried about it every day. And as this progression, so as you work on those things, basically the self actualization becomes kind of normal. But what if you're in a situation where you don't really know how to do that? Well, you can feel free to reach out to myself at the Maassen Group, and we definitely have programs to kind of help you with that. Okay, moving on. Safety needs. Recap. Once physiological needs are met, individuals seek safety and security. This includes physical safety, financial safety, your health, protections from accidents or harm, making sure you know your door is secure, that no one can basically just kind of bum rush or just put you in a situation where you're at harm's way. Examples of safety needs fulfilling may include having a stable job, a safe home, or access to health care, or having a place you can go to in the event that you need superior care. And also secure environment. All right, let's move on. Belongingness needs. After these, the foundation, which is the physiological needs, and then you have the safety needs met, then you have the belongingness needs. And when these are satisfied, then people crave social connection and a sense of belonging. What may come to mind? Well, think about your inner circle, the 5 people around you. Those people who, whenever you're in a bind, you can give them a call. Maybe you have children and you may need to call somebody to watch your child, right? You have that connection. It could be a family member, but sometimes it may just be a close friend. This level includes friendship, intimacy, family, and a sense of community, right? Togetherness. Here in Washington is cool because there's a lot of different cultures that create different communities. You fulfill these needs, which leads to a feeling of love, acceptance, and inclusion. All right. The next one is esteem needs. And earlier I talked about basically how do people see you on the outside. Once the lower level needs are met, individuals seek recognition and respect. And you may receive this in your job. For example, let's say you get an award because you're always on time, right? Or maybe you produced quite a bit for that particular employer. That would help your esteem. Or let's say that you came up with a particular project or a solution to kind of help everyone get along a lot easier. That will help with your esteem needs as well. And esteem needs can be categorized into 2 types of needs. Self-esteem, so we'll talk a little bit about that, which is the confidence, because you have to have the confidence and the competence to achieve what you're doing, right? But also the need for esteem of others, which is the recognition, the respect, and the status. That makes you feel good about yourself, right? So a lot of times we can get this through skills, certain types of resources that we learned, or let's say we know how to do a certain thing. For example, I'm a life coach, so I have some skill sets to kind of help people. And it helps me feel good when I'm able to help families and help people through challenges based on what I know. And watching them practice those particular things and then seeing them grow as well, that's another aspect too, makes me feel good. What are some things that make you feel good as far as esteem? So feel free to reach out. So for those individuals that came a little late, we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And also, too, I wanted to put a shout out to Rainier Avenue Radio for allowing us to have this this moment in time to take care of men's mental health. And for those individuals who came in a little late, this is Larry Mabry with the Maassen Group, and I'm communicating some information regarding the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and these are basic needs that we all need in order to feel safe, secure, and supported. All right, let's get back. Okay. Achieving success or gaining mastery in a skill and receiving acknowledgement contributes to a fulfillment of esteem needs. Think about a time where you basically did something well and didn't it feel good to get that pat on the back, right? Right. Or if you help somebody and they just came at you like, man, I really appreciate you, helping me through the situation. And then you notice that their life changes because, you gave them that one piece of evidence or piece of thing that they needed to help be successful. It's pretty cool. All right. Self-actualization needs. Self-actualization needs is at the top of the hierarchy. Remember, you need to utilize all 5 together. But at the top of the hierarchy is a need for self-actualization, which involves realizing one's full potential and personal growth. This level is characterized by the pursuit of personal goals, creativity, problem solving, and a desire for self-improvement. Are you at a point in your life where you're trying to get a little bit better? Have you noticed that maybe you're kind of at a stagnant place? I've been there before. So feel free to reach out if you need some assistance. But let's move on. So not everyone reaches this level as it requires the satisfaction of all of the lower level needs and a commitment to personal development. And I've had a few people ask me, they're like, you know what, Larry, man, I really want to get to different levels. And so I'm like, well, it's a tough thing because if you grow up in a family where maybe you haven't experienced, the physiological things. I know in Detroit, I dealt with a lot of families who struggle with that. And it's tough because if you're in that, I like to call it the rat race, it's kind of hard to kind of reach out. But there are ways to get out of that. And believe it or not, it starts with this. And for those individuals that can't see, I'm pointing to the head. A while back, we talked about cognitive distortions. And I'm digressing here, but we spoke about cognitive distortions a while back. And basically, as we change our mindset, we can actually change our reality. And so I noticed for myself, as I was able to change certain things, I was able to reach certain levels. Okay. All right, cool. Let's move on. So how does one honor all of these stages truly? And I'm curious to see, for those individuals out there, reach out and tell me your thoughts. What if you grew up in a family where safety needs weren't met? Well, what type of relationships do you think you would create? Do you think it would be healthy relationships? What are some things you feel you would need in order to create a healthy relationship? Right. So feel free to reach out. I like to comment. If you guys can reach out and comment, that'd be great. Connect with us on Rainier Avenue Radio World on Facebook, and I'll respond back. And also, too, as I kind of wait for people to reach out, I want to say a few weeks ago we spoke about having people reach out, and I think we decided on calling it Mabry Moments. But if you guys have a different name, and basically what we're talking about is if people call in and ask certain questions, and we can address those questions on the air as it relates to men's mental health. I think it would allow people, obviously you'll be anonymous, but I feel like it'd be beneficial to help a lot of people to kind of work through that together. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. Okay. So feel free to reach out. I like to have it where it's more interactive. My job is to try to be supportive in the community. And I feel by doing that, I can kind of get a pulse of where you guys are within the community, right? I know this time of year, a lot of people are working through different things because of the holidays, preparing for Christmas for those individuals who celebrate, or just the energy right now with people shopping and kind of getting things situated can make it a little bit challenging, right? And so it's important to make sure you kind of handle that mental health as you deal with different families and just different energies, and handling the finances as well as gifts, and like I said, different families and energies and the in-laws and that. So it's important to make sure that you're balancing yourself with that so that you are okay to go. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's go to the next one. All right. So, real quick, I want to speak about a couple things that we wanted to address. I spoke to a friend of mine, and they brought up a really good point as far as how do we deal with stress, right? Um, I think last week we spoke a little bit about uh, conflict resolution, or I believe it was the week before. Um, and I wanted to kind of bring a situation within myself, actually, because I like to keep it 100, where had a conflict with a friend of mine, and I noticed that I'll kind of describe some things that happened. I noticed that myself, I was starting to feel a little irritated within myself, and you'll notice that when you are angry, your body kind of tenses up, right? And as you notice it, you can make different choices. So in this situation, I noticed I was tensing up and I was starting to sweat a little bit, which is basically the body's response to let you know, okay, you're in an uncomfortable situation. Um, the old me, and I'm trying to bring a realistic situation. The old me would have probably snapped. I would say when I was at a different place emotionally. The new me or the current me now, I noticed it and I backed off for myself because I realized that I was irritated. And sometimes, we can have those things happen and it may not be the other person, right? It could be maybe you didn't eat enough or you didn't drink enough water that day, right? And so within yourself, you're not on your top tier game. But whose responsibility is that? Is that your responsibility or their responsibility to manage your emotions? So I felt in that situation, it was my responsibility. It's typically your responsibility. But in that situation, I backed off and I wanted to kind of give some tips in that situation. You could back off and do something different, right? Like obviously, if you're heated, you don't want to address the issue over and over again. You want to step away from the issue, right? Um, and sometimes you have to lead that person. I think we talked about avoid in terms of different categories when we deal with situations. But in that situation, you might need to kind of avoid and get away for a moment to calm down, right? Get yourself together. And if you're at a point where you're trying to prove your point, that's probably going to be counterproductive for what you're trying to do, right? You want to go from a place where you have an open heart, right? But when you're in that energy, that's just not going to happen. So avoid the situation or put yourself in a situation where you're get away from that situation real quick and try to do something different. Change the energy real quick, right? And I've been communicating this to some of my clients has been very successful. One other thing too, just a little tip. If you're noticing that, let's say you're having a long day and you're driving in, for those individuals that are here in Seattle, Washington, you're driving in traffic and you hit a light. At that moment, when you hit a light, think of something you're grateful for, right? Think about something you appreciate, right? Rather than focusing on, oh my God, I'm in this traffic. Think about something you're grateful for. For example, the fact that you woke up today, right? The fact that you have a vehicle, because some people are walking. The fact that you have a job, right? And I noticed just as you practice those moments of gratitude, you tend to practice changing your energy and changing your vibration and create a whole different reality. But it takes work though. It's not something that's instantaneous, right? But I just want to kind of give those tips because I've had people reach out and say, hey, I'm in this situation. How do I do it? And those are quick things that I use or recommend to clients that help tremendously to, as I say, step out the ledge or step away from the ledge so you don't jump off, right? Um, and it's tough because if you came from a family where it was combative, that might be something that viscerally right? Hey, what's up? I see somebody reaching out. Cool, cool. Change could be great. Yes, it could be. It could be great. Appreciate that. Hey, Wayne, thank you. Appreciate you reaching out. And also too, let me know, Wayne, if you felt that was a good suggestion, right? to just kind of step away, change the situation, look at it from a different lens, right? And then you'll have more of a, I would say, a focus type of perspective. Okay, so we're getting down to the end of our show. A couple things I want to announce before we get ready for next week. So um, this Friday, or this Friday, we're gonna have the state football championship, December 1st at 7 p.m. So just want to remind those individuals to make sure you guys get out there and support the state football championship Friday, December 1st at 7 p.m. And it'll probably be cold, so make sure you dress accordingly for those individuals here in Washington. And also, too, I want to say thanks for those individuals reaching out. Wayne, appreciate you. I do see you. Thank you so much. Um, let me know, guys. I think coming up soon, we want to talk a little bit about what are we going to do as far as communication. Do we want people to reach out? Yes or no? Let me know. One other thing, too, before we close it out, I want to say, hey, Better Together and Living Powerfully. We want to announce that for our guest, Dr. Tracy Harrell. Pretty cool young lady. And want to say, hey, enjoy that. It's similar to kind of what we're talking about. And also want us to thank you guys and Rainier Avenue Radio for being here. And we'll see you guys coming up pretty soon next week, where we'll be looking at anger management. So for those individuals who want to kind of work through that, we'll talk a little bit more about that next week. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Feel free to reach out again on our live chat. Again, Wayne, thank you. Thank you. It looks like we had about 5 or 6 people today. So appreciate you guys. And let me know what you guys think. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one, guys. Peace.